Okay, so we're at number 20. When you read number 20, this is a typical PSAT question when they give you a word problem. So if you look carefully at the question, it says, a standard train ticket in a certain city is $2.50 per ride. Remember I said whenever they say per ride, they mean literally times X. So people who use the train also have an option of purchasing a frequent rider pass for $17.25 a month. With the pass, a ticket costs $1.75 per ride. How many train rides in a month can a frequent rider pass be a better deal than the standard train ticket? So what I would do in this case is I would set this up as 1.75n. So this is number 20. I would do 1.75x, let's use x, plus 17.25. And this value should exceed or should be better than a better option than spending $2.50 times x. So to solve for this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 175x on both sides. Oops, sorry. All right. And in doing so, you end up with 17.25 is less than a little bit of math here. So the 250, we have 250 minus 175. You end up with 0.75x. And if I divide by 0.75 on both sides, notice this is going to give me x is greater than, and yes, it's reversed, so make sure you always read from the variable out. So 17.25 divided by 0.75 should give you 23. So I'm looking at this answer and x has to be, okay, so I want you to stop and think about this. X has to be greater than 23. 23 is not included. That's not one of the answers. So the only reasonable answer that you have here, I think, is answer choice A. And number 20 should be answer choice A, which is 24 or more. So the idea is that if I have 23 here, it's not included in my answer choice. Since it's a discrete number, the next number up is 24. So it's 24 or more rides would make that a better deal. Okay, so the interpretation of that is crucial. Again, let me just restate this. Once you solve this part of the equation, notice that this all cancels, leaving you just x by itself is greater than 23. It's not including 23. That's why it's not answer choice D. It's certainly not C, because C means you're at 22 over here. That's definitely not the answer. And 25 is already over here, so that's not the answer. You're probably grappling, or you're probably going to gravitate to D immediately because you see the 23 and you're thinking, hey, it's got to be 23 or more. But if I say 23 or more, I'm including that 23. This is not including the 23. That's the key to this question. Okay? So the next answer up would be 24, and that makes sense. All right. So let's look at number 21. In number 21, we have 10 less than or equal to 7 over 3x plus 3 is less than 17. All right, so let me open this up just a little bit because I think I'm a little too narrow here. All right, in this answer, we are going to first subtract the 3 on all three sides. Notice that you get 7 less than or equal to 7 over 3x less than 14. Okay, and we're going to multiply the whole thing by 3 over 7. So basically, if I multiply this by 3 over 7, I'm left with 3 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 6. So I want you to stop and think about what that looks like on a number line. Okay, again, here's negative infinity, here's positive infinity. And this is obviously inclusive of, it looks like it's going to be not inclusive of a 6. So let me erase that part because there's no equal to here. So in essence, my answer choice should be D. So x is a number greater than or equal to 3. So think of x sitting here, if this is the 3, coming this way. But it's got to be less than 6, not inclusive of 6. Right? And so that would be answer choice D, as in dog. The interval notation obviously would be bracket 3, comma 6, parentheses. All right. Let's look at 22. On 22, you have the absolute value of x squared minus 4x minus 4 equal to 8. And so, since I already have my absolute value encompassed, or shall I say isolated, as I always use the phrase, we're going to look at this as a set of factors. So in one case, I'm going to look at this from this angle as a problem. In the second case, I'm going to look at this equation this way as an angle. So I'm going to do both side by side. So you start with the red. So if I start with the x squared minus 4x minus 4, and I set that equal to 8, I'm going to subtract that 8 on both sides. And I have now x squared minus 4x minus 12 equal to 0. And looking at the factors, I'm thinking if I use x minus 6 times x plus 2, that'll work. So that means that my two solutions are x equals 6 or negative 2. So we're good so far as the solution. On the teal side, I'm going to look at this from the perspective of x squared minus 4x minus 4 is equal to negative 8. This time I'm adding 8 over here. Notice that this is going to give you x squared minus 4x plus 4 equal to 0. Which means that if I solve this, this will be the equivalent of x minus 2 times x minus 2. Obviously equal to 0. So my solution for this side was going to be x is equal to positive 2. So I have three solutions according to this. I have the 6 and the negative 2, and I have the positive 2 sitting here. So this answer choice should be answer choice A, sitting right in front of us. Okay, number 23. On number 23, they're giving us the formula Celsius is equal to 5 over 9 times Fahrenheit minus 32. They're giving us further in the question, if the Celsius temperatures range, so they're telling us a range, which is, according to this, negative 85 and negative 40. And these are Celsius. They want us to find the Fahrenheit. So very simple. They're giving us Celsius, so I'll start with negative 85 is equal to 5 over 9, parentheses, what I need to know, which is Fahrenheit minus 32. And I'll do the same thing for the 40. Negative 40 is equal to 5 over 9, parentheses, Fahrenheit minus 32. And so step 1 in both cases is I'm going to multiply both of these by 9 over 5. The reciprocal of the fraction, because I want to undo this thing. It's really annoying. right? So this cancels with this. 5 goes into 85. Let me use my calculator just to make sure, because I'm having a fuzzy day today. So if I take 85, and let's divide it by 5, 17, and 17 times 9, that's 153. So I have 153, negative 153, is equal to Fahrenheit minus 32, and I'm going to add 32 on both sides. So if I take that and I add those two together, I end up with Fahrenheit equal to negative 121 for the high end. And here I'll continue this. This becomes 72. 5 goes into negative 40, negative 8. Negative 8 times 9, negative 72 is equal to Fahrenheit minus 32. I'll add the 32 again. So I'm adding 32 here and here. And I end up with Fahrenheit is equal to negative 40. So that's my range. According to your answer choices, you should have negative 121 and negative 40 for Fahrenheit, which is answer choice B in this case. Remember, this is inclusive because it's equal to, and that's why we use the bracket, not parentheses. So answer choice B, not D. All right. Let's look at 24. Number 24 should be a very basic question for you. We have the absolute value of x minus 3. This is number 24. X minus 3 less than 3. And so we also want to do the greater than negative 3. If I add the 3 to both sides of this equation, all three sides of this equation, I get 0, x is greater than 0, but less than 6. All right, so let's see our answer choices here. This is number 24. Yeah, so that should be your answer. This should be from here's 0, here's 6. X is the numbers inside, and not inclusive. So all of this. Obviously negative infinity, positive infinity. I always do this just to remind you why it is what it is. All right, number 25. Number 25, you have the absolute value of 5x plus 6 minus 4 is less than negative 7. First thing we're going to do is we're going to isolate that absolute value, and you end up with absolute value of 5x plus 6 is less than negative 3, which means that we need to complete it on the opposite side. So we would have positive 3 sitting here. If I subtract 6 on both sides, all three sides, I end up with negative 3 is less than 5x less than negative 9. I'm now going to divide by 5 on all three terms. And I want you to reason this through. Those answers look very enticing. It looks very enticing. I'm looking at especially C, and I'm thinking maybe C, but the truth is this is a null set. This is not a possible value. Think about what this implies. X is a number that has to be less than negative 9/5. So let's say negative 9/5, so just 1 1/4. Negative 1 1/4 is negative 1.25. X is a number less than that. That's what this is implying right here on this side. On this side, it's saying x is greater than negative 3, which negative 3/5, which is negative 0.6. So if x is greater than negative 0.6, negative 0.6 is somewhere around here, hypothetically, not inclusive, and is going this way. So is there any overlap? And the answer would be no. There is no solution for this. based on the answer. So we would answer null set. There's no answer that fits in between these two. No answer here in the purple. Okay? All right, number 26, the last question of this review. And so for this question, if you look at it, it really is kind of obvious what the answer should be right away. I'm thinking absolute value of x plus 2 has to be greater than or equal to 0, which don't even need to complement it. You could actually just solve for it. So, if I substitute in a negative number in here, would it work? Could it still be greater than or equal to 0? If I substitute in, for example, negative 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. If I substitute in negative 16, hypothetically, so this will give us absolute value of negative 14, which is positive 14, which is greater than or equal to 0. Obviously, any number would give me a value greater than or equal to 0. So this is technically, that's why I said it's obvious that this would be negative infinity to infinity. Answer choice C.